craft more to the mystery of Liesel the elephant tamer over here. And so in working with that, Jimmy, what about running new schemata? If we are now busy changing behaviours and wanting
okay, let me first talk about the elephant, because I love this elephant story.
Yes.
The elephant is basically a subconscious mind, am I correct? Okay, so we're coming to the importance of the subconscious mind in our perception of reality and in our everyday behaviour and changing our behaviour. Subconscious mind is the interface with reality, between reality and the thinking mind. Is the subconscious. As I said, 97% is the schemata that I'm talking about. These little programs that run, it says, I can't do this, I can't do that. If I believe this, I can't do that. I can't touch a crystal because I believe this. Those are the little schemata, little programs that run in the subconscious. They run at the subconscious level. You're not aware of them. It's like an elephant, and an elephant takes a turn to the left, you don't know why. Because somewhere along the line, you've programmed that elephant has learned to behave in a certain way. Now you've got to unlearn that. So the question is how to reprogram those schemata. It is possible. I don't want to take over what she's going to say, but basically through making an ally of the subconscious mind. I read a lot of books about South American wisdom, and they talk about the ally. Now the way you do that is you build a relationship with your subconscious mind. I called it the lover. I made an analogy in one of my books. I called my subconscious mind the lover. You've got to woo your lover. You've got to say kind words to your lover through affirmations. You've got to present yourself favorably through intentions. The lover has to accept your wooing and say, this is a person with integrity. And only then will you start getting this communication from the subconscious. So the idea is to build a relationship with the subconscious through a process of affirmation, intention, imagery, and dream interpretation to woo the subconscious. Once you get that, once it starts coming through in the imagery, let me give you a big tip now, last thing I want to say. When do you know when your subconscious mind is an ally? When you do visualization and things start spontaneously appearing in your visualization. The subconscious communicates with you through dreams and through visualization. And when you are visualizing the garden and the little animal pops up subconsciously or spontaneously, that's your subconscious sending you a message. Then you know you've got this relationship going.
Wonderful, thank you. And that I can really relate to that, because for me, I say the subconscious mind is the genie. We always want to have a genie, and we, just coax it up the lamp there, rub that lamp. And so we program it, we form a relationship, and we're able to then coax the wonders from within the space and to start doing things differently by maybe we can become the architects and we can be the cause rather than the effect of everybody else and everything else that seems to happen in this world of ours. Is this illusion or is it reality? For me, all of this is reality. Even the illusion is reality. And with all of these architects that we have sitting here, we can reconstruct a new reality that is brighter than anything we might have limited ourselves to perceiving before. Nadine, can you tell me a bit more, please, about the creative, visionary space that you operate from within?
Okay, I think in pictures. So the pictures that I saw and the pictures that were given to me were of a world that my mind couldn't interpret. And it took me many years why I saw things in what other people would call fantasies. And fantasy, to live in a fantasy was a no-no word. And I went through a long process of realizing that being creative, living in your fantasy was considered not good. I have learned the hard way how our pineal gland is getting calcified by the many belief systems that we believe, the many programs that we are brought up in. In my talk, I will explain how to get in touch with that amazing part of us that has straight contact to the whole universe of who we are, which is the pineal gland. And once we're in touch with our pineal gland, there is nobody, nothing, and no system that can control us. We have total control over our own manifestation, but we need to wake up for that. And we live in amazing times today where that is now possible. Where the internet helps, our information can all be sourced out. Scientists started to discover the roles that people play who are in power. We know that the greatest fear is the public. It's that start to wake up, and we need to wake up to make this a golden age, and that is my topic.
That's amazing. Feminine within themselves. In what way can they use it?
No, it's much easier to share this Cherokee proverb, which says that a woman's highest calling is to lead man to source, which is love, and a man's highest calling is to ensure that she walks this earth unharmed. It's a beautiful proverb. And from that, as women, once we start reconnecting with the essence of our femininity, we can lead men to source, which source is love. And as men, taking the cue and seeing how we begin to nurture and take care of ourselves, that mirror starts reflecting in a man's life, you know, as well, and starts to see that. But in the day-to-day activities, we can all reconnect with nature, with Mother Earth, by just going out and, you know, just watching the little things, you know, in life, in nature, earthing yourself, walking, you know, barefoot, just feeling the sense of earth. Also, self-care for men is also important, and I'm not talking about this whole metrosexual way of self-care where you're sitting in salons, etc. It's more about taking care of your soul, and also, you know, as Liesel said, you know, learning to say no. That's also nurturing yourself. That's being in touch with with your feminine essence. In terms of the intuition, Nadine's talking about the pineal gland. Being in touch with your intuition and learning to be in touch with your body and learning to listen to your body is all part of feminine essence. And the most important part is, you know, God created, there's a saying that God created woman, or the divine feminine, to basically mimic the heart of God. And it is beautiful. And it is, you know, for a man to just start feeling, to opening up your heart and allowing yourself to feel, is actually that connection with the divine feminine.
That is absolutely exquisite. Thank you for sharing those insights. I think that is incredibly enriching. And as we incorporate all of these new insights, I'd like to think, I've been pondering about this time that we have been given. Time is not a straight line, it's not an arrow, and we can't unscramble the egg. Somehow this is the universe of entropy. You go and you scramble it up, no matter what you do, there's a chaos. You can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And what is so fascinating about the connection of beings who are now present in the world is this complementary energy where everybody has got something to contribute towards creating this wholeness once more. In this universe, some of us have actually said, no, we don't want chaos. Or out of this chaos order, a new order has to emerge. Nothing must be the same anymore. This is why I'm so attracted to the imagery, both visually and in writing, that I've experienced through Nadine's work. Because this is a new world. We're not looking at the new world order. We're looking at a completely new way of doing things, and something being birthed out of this divine moon, out of the chaos. Something very, very rare. So maybe we're all in a cauldron. Maybe more than a program, Jimmy, or and then the schemata. Maybe everything's being shaken up here.
Change the schemata, and the way you do it is you're challenging it through radical and novel experience.
Right.
So in other words, we have to have novel, new experiences. We have to be open to new experiences in order to incorporate those experiences, which will then shatter the paradigms that we presently have. And it can be a very uncomfortable situation.
Certainly.
I mean, I can remember starting reading books 30, 40 years ago, some of these spiritual books, and they shook me up. And you need that shaking up. And once you start incorporating the new ideas, it starts challenging the existing schemata, and then you can change the schemata to I don't have to do this, I can believe this, I can believe that. And that's what we're trying to aim for, the total freedom and flexibility, which I think Nadine was speaking about.
Yes, thank you. And that is so real, because if we even look at the study of epigenetics, there is research that emerged in the last week that shows to what degree our thinking can actually affect our genes themselves. So we are chemical suits, and at the same time we can change that. We're not victims of our genes or of the programs that appear to be so intransigent. Applying your techniques, how can one make sure that those past experiences do not continue to impact negatively, to shape a different future?
That's a great question. Has anybody here heard of tapping or EFT? Most people these days, it's amazing to me how mainstream it's actually become, in these circles anyway. So tapping or EFT is a technique that stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. When we can take the charge out of events from the past, we can live a very different life now, in the current moment. So when we use EFT to collapse the fears and all the beliefs and the schemas and the things that come from the past, because every time when we actually have had a bad event that teach me a certain thing. So say when I was 5 years old and Mum said, come help me in the kitchen, and I said no in my little 5-year-old way. Mum got really upset and she told me, you'll never say that word again. My current life is going to be influenced by that fear. Where we can take the charge out of that little 5-year-old's consciousness with EFT, with a technique like EFT, we can make different decisions in our current life and even going into the future. So EFT is a particularly powerful technique to help us take the emotional charge, because beliefs get formed in a really like a scared emotional space. That's when we make a new belief about life or about ourselves. Taking the emotional charge out can help us make new decisions and make better choices for ourselves that will serve us now. Because in that 5-year-old's life, they needed to stay alive. They needed to make sure that they survive. And that belief was maybe good at the time, but is no longer serving us. Because we want to live lives of choice instead of being held to something that happened one day long, long ago. So
Yes.
EFT is that kind of technique.
Oh, that's marvelous. And this living the lives of choice, that for me feels like no longer being hostage to people, places and things from the past. So my affirmation is always, no person, place or thing has any power over me whatsoever. And in fact you can say that with such emotion, you can start reprogramming every part of yourself.